My mantra on addiction is not why the addiction, but why the pain. If you want to look at what causes addiction, you have to look at the benefit of addiction. What did it do for you? People will say, typically, it gave me pain relief, escape from stress, it gave me a sense of connection, a sense of belonging. The addiction met some essential human need that otherwise wasn't even met in that person's life. So all of these states of lacking connection, of being isolated, of having pain, of having too much stress in your life, these are states of emotional pain. And when you look at populations of addicts, what you find is that the more adversity in childhood, exponentially, the greater the risk of addiction. Which doesn't mean that every person traumatized will become an addict, but it does mean that every addict was traumatized. In my opinion, an addiction is manifested in any behavior that a person finds temporary pleasure or relief in, but suffers negative consequences as a result of, and does not give up or cannot give up despite those negative consequences. Tobacco, alcohol, substances of all kinds. It could also be related to sex, gambling, shopping, eating, work. Virtually any area of human activity can become addictive depending on the person's relationship to it. I had two major addictions in my life. One was to work, and I also an addiction to shopping, in my case for classical music, CDs. One day I spent $8,000 on compact discs. It doesn't matter how many sets of a particular composer's symphonies you already have to get the next one and the next one. In the grip of the shopping fever, I once left patient in labor and actually went downtown to get a disc, and I missed the delivery. That's how impactful it was. Now, you may think that's laughable. How can you compare your addiction to those of your heroin-addicted patients? My heroin-addicted patients, when I told them about my addictions, they didn't laugh, or they shook their heads and they said, "Yeah, doc, we get it. You're just like the rest of us." Well, the point is that we're all just like the rest of us. The greatest myth around addiction, number one, that is genetic. Now, it does run in families, but why does it run in families? If I'm an alcoholic and if I yelled and screamed at my kids and then they grow up to soothe themselves with alcohol, did I pass that on to them genetically? Or is that a behavior they developed because I recreated the same conditions that I grew up in? Now, there might be genetic predisposition, but a predisposition is not the same as a predetermination. The other myth around addiction is that it's a choice that people make. And the whole legal system is based on the idea that people are choosing to be addicts. Let's punish them for it so as to deter others. Addiction is not a choice anybody makes, it's a response to emotional pain. The other myth is that addiction is restricted to the substance user or to a few losers in our society. It's rife and rampant through our culture. You would think that with the utter failure of most treatment modalities when it comes to addiction, we would wake up and ask ourselves, do we really understand this condition? But that doesn't seem to happen. We're not looking at its real nature as a response to human suffering, because really not helping people work through and resolve their traumas. So we keep saying, what's wrong with you? Instead of asking, what happened to you?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to receive notifications for new videos. See you again soon.